The information provided in this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional. You should not use the information in this presentation for diagnosis or treatment of any health problem or for prescription of any medication or other treatment. You should consult with a healthcare professional before starting any diet, exercise, or supplementation program, before taking any medication, or if you have or suspect you might have a health problem. Do you remember what it felt like to be 25? You could pull an all-nighter for work or for fun, grab a few hours of sleep, and still feel basically human the next day. You could eat an entire large pizza by yourself and the only consequence was a good story. Your body just worked. Aches and pains were temporary things that happened after you did something stupid, not the background music to your daily life. You didn't think about energy levels, you just had energy. You didn't think about metabolism, you just burned calories. Life was on autopilot and the machine was running smoothly. Now fast forward. You're in your 40s. You look at a piece of bread and feel like you gain a pound. A full 8 hours of sleep feels like a luxury vacation. And even then, you sometimes wake up feeling like you've been in a wrestling match with your mattress. That nagging ache in your lower back has become your most loyal companion. You find yourself making a grunting sound when you stand up from a comfortable chair, and you have no idea when that started. You go to the gym, and instead of feeling powerful, you spend the next 3 days recovering. Sound familiar? If you're nodding your head right now, you are not alone. This isn't a personal failure. This is the silent epidemic facing millions of American men over 40. And it's not just a feeling, it's a biological reality. Consider this. A study from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism revealed a substantial, and frankly terrifying, drop in men's testosterone levels over the last few decades. The average 45-year-old man today might have the hormonal profile of a 65-year-old from his father's generation. Let that sink in. The fundamental hormone that governs our energy, our drive, our muscle mass, our mood, it's in a free fall. And nobody gave us a heads up. Nobody handed us a manual for what to do when the warranty on our youth runs out. We were sold a bill of goods. We were taught to grind, to push through the pain, to provide for our families, to build our careers. And we did. We put our heads down and worked. We sacrificed sleep for deadlines. We swapped gym time for family time. We powered through with caffeine and sheer willpower. But the work hard, play hard model has a hidden cost. And the bill comes due right around our 40th birthday. Suddenly, we look up from the grind and realize the engine is sputtering. The check engine light has been on for a while, but we've been too busy to notice. And what happens when we finally decide to do something about it? We're thrown into a hurricane of conflicting information. One guru tells you to go full keto and eat nothing but bacon and butter. The next expert on your feed says that's a heart attack on a plate and you need to be a vegan. You're told to lift heavy, but also to do more cardio. You're told to meditate for an hour a day, but also to hustle harder. You're bombarded with ads for miracle supplements, testosterone boosters, and 5-minute workouts that promise to restore your vitality overnight. The wellness industry for men has become a confusing, expensive, and often predatory landscape. It's exhausting. It's overwhelming. And for most guys, it leads to paralysis. We end up doing nothing because the fear of doing the wrong thing is greater than the motivation to start. This is why we're here. This series is not another quick fix. It is the manual you were never given. This is Navigating Wellness for Men Over 40 in America. Over the next 10 parts, we are going to cut through the noise. We are going to dismantle the myths. We are going to give you a clear, actionable, no-nonsense roadmap to reclaiming your health, your energy, and your edge. This isn't about trying to be 25 again. That guy is gone. This is about building a new version of yourself. A stronger, more resilient, more capable man for the next 40 years of your life. A man who has not just experience but the vitality to match it. We're going to break this down into 4 key pillars that every man needs to master. Physical, mental, emotional, and social wellness. We'll start with the physical because it's the foundation for everything else. We're going to talk about the food that actually fuels a man's body in his 40s and beyond, not the diet fads that burn you out. We'll cover the exact types of exercise that build and maintain muscle, protect your joints, and optimize your hormones, even if you only have 3 hours a week. We'll dive deep into the science of sleep, and I'll show you how to make it the most powerful performance-enhancing tool you have for free. Then we'll move into the mental game. We'll talk about focus in an age of distraction, how to build mental toughness that doesn't just mean sucking it up, but actually processing stress in a healthy way. We'll explore strategies to keep your brain sharp, fight off brain fog, and maintain your cognitive edge in a competitive world. From there, we'll tackle what is often the most neglected area for men: emotional wellness. We'll discuss the myth of the stoic, emotionless man and how that outdated model is destroying our health and our relationships. We'll talk about purpose, about finding a mission beyond your job title, and how to build a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling, not just successful on paper. And finally, we'll cover social wellness. We'll address the epidemic of loneliness among men and why having a tribe, a brotherhood, is not a luxury. It's a biological necessity for survival and longevity. Think of a guy we'll call Mark. At 47, Mark was the classic American success story. Great job, nice house, wonderful family. But privately, he was running on fumes. He was pre-diabetic, about 30 pounds overweight, and his energy crashed every day around 3 p.m. He felt irritable, disconnected from his wife and kids, and like he was just going through the motions. He tried a few diets, bought a treadmill that became a very expensive coat rack, and eventually he just resigned himself to the idea that this was what getting older felt like. But Mark decided to try a different approach. He didn't go on a crash diet or start a brutal workout regimen. He started with small strategic changes based on the principles we're going to lay out. He changed when he ate, not just what he ate. He swapped his long, slow jogs for shorter, more intense workouts. He implemented a simple 10-minute routine before bed to drastically improve his sleep. 6 months later, he wasn't just 30 pounds lighter. His blood work was perfect. He had more energy than he did in his 30s. He was more present with his family. He felt in control of his health and his life for the first time in a decade. Mark didn't turn back the clock. He just learned how to operate his machinery for the age he is now. He got the right manual. That is the potential outcome here. This series is your manual. It's a masterclass in being a healthy, high-performing man in the modern world. We will give you the tools. We will give you the science. We will give you the plan. Your job is to show up and do the work. The enemy isn't your age. The enemy is inertia. It's the belief that your best days are behind you. That is a lie. Your greatest strength, your deepest wisdom, your most profound impact on the world, that is all still ahead of you. But you can't bring your best self to that future if you're leaving your health in the past. So where do we begin? Before we can build a new house, we have to understand the foundation we're working with. We need to look under the hood and understand the engine itself. And the primary operating system for a man is his hormonal health. Everything, your energy, your mood, your body composition, your sex drive, your motivation, it all flows from there. In the next part, we are going to tackle the single most important and most misunderstood hormone in the male body. We're going to talk about testosterone. We'll expose the myths, reveal the surprising things in your daily life that are silently crushing your levels, and lay out the foundational natural strategies every man over 40 should consider to support this critical cornerstone of his vitality. It's the essential first step on this journey. So let's start with a picture of a guy we'll call Mark. Mark is 47. He's a good guy. He works hard, provides for his family, and he even tries to stay in shape. He hits the gym a few times a week, mostly doing the same cardio routine he's done for years. He tries to eat healthy, choosing the low-fat yogurt, the whole wheat bread, and the sports drinks that promise to replenish his electrolytes. But Mark is exhausted. He wakes up feeling like he's already run a marathon. That drive he had in his 30s? It's a distant memory. He feels irritable, his focus at work is shot, and intimacy with his wife feels more like a chore than a connection. Mark's story isn't unique. It's the story of millions of American men who are doing what they think is right, but are unknowingly sabotaging the very hormone that defines their masculine energy, testosterone. The problem isn't a lack of effort. The problem is a lack of the right information. There are silent, invisible forces in our modern lives that are waging a war on our hormonal health. And the first step to winning any war is to identify the enemy. The first, and arguably the biggest silent killer, is sleep deprivation. We live in a culture that glorifies the hustle, the early mornings, the late nights. We wear our lack of sleep like a badge of honor. But for a man over 40, treating sleep as a luxury is like trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation of sand. Your body produces the majority of its daily testosterone while you're in the deepest stages of sleep, particularly REM sleep. When you consistently cut that short, even by just an hour or two a night, you are literally robbing the factory of its most productive shift. Think of it this way: your body is a high-performance engine. Sleep is the nightly pit crew that repairs, refuels, and tunes that engine. If you keep sending the car out onto the track without letting the crew do its work, it's not a matter of if it will break down, but when. Studies have shown that just 1 week of sleeping only 5 hours a night can lower testosterone levels in healthy young men by the same amount as aging 10 to 15 years. Imagine what decades of that pattern does to a man in his 40s. The second enemy is operating right from your kitchen pantry. It's hidden sugars and processed foods masquerading as health food. That low-fat yogurt Mark was eating? It's often loaded with sugar to make it taste good. That healthy whole wheat bread? It can spike your blood sugar just as fast as a candy bar. These constant sugar spikes lead to a surge in insulin, and high insulin levels are a major red flag for testosterone production. It creates a state of chronic inflammation in the body, which is like a constant low-grade fire that your system is always trying to put out. Your body is so busy dealing with this inflammatory stress that it puts essential functions like robust hormone production on the back burner. It's not just about avoiding soda and donuts. It's about becoming a detective and reading labels, understanding that things like salad dressings, pasta sauces, and protein bars can be packed with sugars and industrial seed oils that fuel this fire and suppress your masculine vitality. The third saboteur is the most invisible of all: chronic stress. In our 20s and 30s, we could often run on adrenaline. We could handle the pressure. But sustained, long-term stress in your 40s is a different beast. When you're constantly stressed from work deadlines, financial pressures, family obligations, your body pumps out a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is your fight-or-flight hormone. It was designed to save you from a saber-toothed tiger, not to help you deal with 1,000 unread emails. The problem is, your body can't tell the difference. Cortisol and testosterone have an inverse relationship. They're on a biological seesaw. When cortisol is chronically high, testosterone is pushed down. Your body is in survival mode, and in survival mode, things like muscle building, libido, and ambition are non-essential luxuries. It's diverting all its resources to just keeping you on high alert. Living in this state day after day, year after year, effectively grinds your hormonal gears down to a nub. So we've identified the enemies: poor sleep, hidden sugars, and chronic stress. Now, how do we fight back? This isn't about some miracle pill or a complicated, expensive biohack. It's about returning to the foundational pillars of male health. It's about building a fortress so strong that these enemies can't even get past the gates. Let's start with sleep. The goal isn't just more sleep, it's higher quality sleep. You need to create a sleep sanctuary. This starts an hour before you even get into bed. Implement a power down routine. This means no more screens, no phone, no TV, no tablet. The blue light from these devices tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime, suppressing the production of melatonin, your natural sleep hormone. Instead, read a physical book. Listen to some calming music. Meditate for 10 minutes. Make your bedroom as dark and cool as possible. Blackout curtains are a game changer. A cool room temperature, ideally around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, has been shown to improve sleep quality. Treat your sleep with the same seriousness and discipline you would treat a critical business meeting, because for your long-term health, it's infinitely more important. Next, let's overhaul the kitchen. We need to shift from a diet that fuels inflammation to one that builds hormonal health. The blueprint is simple. Focus on whole, unprocessed foods. Build your meals around 3 key components: quality protein, healthy fats, and fiber-rich vegetables. Quality protein from sources like grass-fed beef, wild-caught salmon, and pasture-raised eggs provides the building blocks for hormones and muscle. Healthy fats from avocados, olive oil, nuts, and seeds are literally what your body uses to synthesize testosterone. Don't fear fat. It is your friend. And fill your plate with colorful, fibrous vegetables like broccoli, spinach, and bell peppers. These foods are packed with micronutrients essential for hormonal balance, like magnesium and zinc. A simple rule of thumb: if it comes in a box with a long list of ingredients you can't pronounce, it's probably not serving you. If it grew on a plant or had a face, you're on the right track. This isn't about a restrictive diet. It's about a nutritional upgrade. Finally, we have to actively manage stress. We can't eliminate the pressures of life, but we can change how our bodies respond to them. This means building deliberate stress reduction practices into your day. It doesn't have to be an hour of yoga. It can be as simple as a 10-minute walk outside in the middle of the workday, without your phone. Exposure to sunlight helps regulate your circadian rhythm and boost vitamin D, another crucial component for testosterone support. Another powerful tool is breath work. When you feel that wave of stress rising, take 2 minutes. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat this 5 or 6 times. This simple act sends a signal to your nervous system to shift out of fight or flight and into rest and digest, immediately lowering cortisol. It's a physiological reset button you can press anytime, anywhere. By mastering these 3 pillars, prioritizing restorative sleep, adopting a whole foods nutritional strategy, and actively managing your stress response, you are not just playing defense. You are going on offense. You are creating an internal environment where your body can thrive, where it has the resources and the calm to optimize its natural hormone production. This is the non-negotiable foundation. Without this, everything else, all the fancy supplements, all the killer workout programs, is just building on that same foundation of sand. We've cleared the ground and poured the concrete. We've established the base upon which all future progress will be built. Now it's time to erect the frame. It's time to talk about movement, but not just any movement. We need to dismantle the long-held myths about exercise for men over 40, the endless cardio sessions and the ego lifting that lead to burnout and injury. In the next part, we're going to reveal the specific types of training, the precise protocols that act as a powerful catalyst, signaling to your body that it needs to be strong, resilient, and virile. We're going to build the engine. The engine of a man over 40 isn't built on a treadmill. It isn't forged through endless, punishing spin classes or by jogging until your knees ache. That's the old model. It's a model based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how the male body works as it matures. The real engine, the one that burns fat while you sleep, that keeps your bones strong, that supports a healthy hormonal profile, is built from high-quality, dense, functional muscle. And the signal we send to our body to build this engine is called resistance training. Let's be brutally honest. After age 30, the average man who isn't actively fighting it will lose 3 to 5% of his muscle mass per decade. This isn't just about looking less defined in a t-shirt. This process, called sarcopenia, is a thief. It steals your strength, slows your metabolism down to a crawl, and makes you more susceptible to fat gain, particularly that stubborn visceral fat around your organs. It's the reason a flight of stairs feels different at 45 than it did at 25. Resistance training is not just an option. It is the most powerful weapon in our arsenal to fight this process. It is the direct counteroffensive against metabolic aging. When you lift challenging weights, you create microscopic tears in your muscle fibers. Your body, in its incredible wisdom, doesn't just repair this damage, it overcompensates. It rebuilds the fibers thicker and stronger than before, so they can handle that stress better next time. This is adaptation. This is growth. But the benefits go so much deeper. Every pound of muscle you build is like adding a new, highly efficient furnace to your body. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It requires energy just to exist. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn around the clock, even when you're sitting on the couch watching the game. It fundamentally changes your body's energy economy. Furthermore, muscle acts as a massive storage tank for glucose. When you eat carbohydrates, your body can shuttle that sugar into your muscle cells to be stored as glycogen, instead of letting it linger in your bloodstream where it can cause problems or be converted to fat. This dramatically improves your insulin sensitivity, which is arguably one of the most important markers for long-term health and avoiding chronic diseases that plague modern America. And yes, intense resistance training can create a favorable hormonal cascade, signaling the body to support its natural production of testosterone and growth hormone, the very hormones associated with vitality, energy, and lean body mass. So, how do we build this engine? Do we spend hours in the gym doing bicep curls and calf raises? Absolutely not. That's like trying to build a skyscraper by laying one brick at a time. We need to be architects. We need to focus on the big foundational pillars. We need to focus on compound movements. A compound movement is any exercise that uses multiple joints and multiple muscle groups at the same time. Think of the squat. It's not just a leg exercise. It's a full-body event that engages your quads, hamstrings, glutes, core, and back. It forces your body to work as an integrated system, which is exactly how it functions in the real world. The foundational compound movements are the architectural blueprints for a strong, functional male physique. The squat pattern teaches you to lift with your legs and protect your back. The hinge pattern, exemplified by the deadlift, builds a powerful posterior chain, your glutes, hamstrings, and lower back, which is the key to athletic power and bulletproofing yourself against back pain. The vertical and horizontal presses, like the overhead press and the bench press, build upper body strength and stability, and the vertical and horizontal pulls, like pull-ups and rows, build a strong, wide back, which is the cornerstone of good posture and a powerful frame. Focusing 80% of your effort on these core movement patterns is the ultimate efficiency hack. You get more metabolic and hormonal bang for your buck in less time. You're not just building muscle, you're teaching your body to move as a coordinated, powerful unit. This is the difference between having show muscles and having real-world functional strength that serves you every single day. Whether you're lifting a heavy suitcase into an overhead bin or picking up your grandchild. But just doing the movements isn't enough. The catalyst, the secret sauce that forces the body to change, is a principle called progressive overload. It sounds technical, but it's beautifully simple. You have to consistently ask your body to do a little bit more than it's used to. That's it. If you go to the gym and lift the same weights for the same number of reps week after week, your body has no reason to adapt. It says, "I'm already strong enough for this." And you hit a plateau. Progressive overload is the language you use to tell your body, "We need to get stronger." And you can speak this language in several ways. The most obvious is adding a little bit of weight to the bar. Even just 2.5 pounds is progress. Another way is to do one more repetition with the same weight. Last week you did 8 reps, this week you fight for 9. You can also do one more set. Or you can keep the weight, reps and sets the same but reduce your rest time between sets. The method doesn't matter as much as the principle. You must consistently and patiently increase the demand over time. This isn't about ego lifting. It's about intelligent, strategic progression. It's a patient game played over months and years, not days and weeks. Now what about cardio? Most guys our age think the path to getting lean is to pound the pavement for hours. While cardiovascular health is non-negotiable, the old model of chronic, long-duration cardio can be counterproductive for men over 40. It can increase cortisol, a stress hormone that can lead to muscle breakdown and fat storage, particularly around the midsection. It's the law of diminishing returns. Instead, we reframe cardio into 2 distinct tools. The first is your foundation, Zone 2 cardio. This is low-intensity, steady-state work where you can easily hold a conversation. Think of a brisk walk on an incline, a light jog, or a steady pace on a stationary bike. The magic of Zone 2 is that it builds your aerobic base and improves mitochondrial efficiency. It literally makes your cellular engines better at producing energy, all without jacking up your stress hormones. It aids in recovery from your strength training and builds genuine, all-day endurance. The second tool, to be used sparingly, is high-intensity interval training or HIIT. This involves short bursts of all-out effort followed by a period of recovery. HIIT is a powerful tool for improving cardiovascular fitness and can be very time-efficient. However, it is also very demanding on the central nervous system. For a man over 40, recovery is paramount. Think of HIIT as a potent spice, not the main course. 1, maybe 2 short sessions a week is plenty. Your resistance training is the steak. Zone 2 is the healthy side dish that helps you digest it. Finally, none of this matters if you get injured. The missing link for most men is mobility and stability. You need to earn the right to lift heavy. Strength without mobility is a cage. Before every workout, you should spend 10 to 15 minutes on a dynamic warm-up. This isn't about static stretching. It's about moving your joints through their full range of motion, activating the muscles you're about to use, and increasing blood flow. Think leg swings, hip circles, and band pull-aparts. This prepares your body for the work to come and dramatically reduces the risk of injury. So, a blueprint for the week might look something like this: 2 to 3 days of full-body resistance training, focusing on those big compound movements and the principle of progressive overload. On your off days or after your lifting sessions, you incorporate 2 to 3 sessions of 30 to 45 minutes of Zone 2 cardio. And every single day, you dedicate a few minutes to mobility work. This isn't a rigid prescription. It's a framework for building a resilient, powerful, and functional body. We've just laid out the architectural plans and poured the foundation for a high-performance engine. We've established the protocols to build functional strength, metabolic flexibility, and true endurance. But even the most finely tuned V8 engine will sputter, stall, and ultimately fail if you fill it with cheap, low-octane fuel. The signals we send in the gym are powerful, but the raw materials we provide for the rebuilding process are just as critical. In the next part, we're going to talk about the fuel. We're going to cut through the noise, the fads, and the outright confusion surrounding nutrition for men over 40, and give you the simple, powerful principles to fuel this new engine for maximum performance, recovery, and a lean, energetic life. Let's start with a hard truth that every man over 40 has to face. You can't out-train a bad diet. Not anymore. The days of crushing a pizza and a six-pack on Friday night, and still hitting a personal record in the gym on Saturday morning are, for most of us, a distant, fond memory. The metabolic engine we have now is different. It's more efficient in some ways, but it's also far less forgiving of low-quality fuel. What worked at 25 will actively work against you at 45. It's not your fault, it's biology. Hormonal shifts, a natural decrease in metabolic rate, and years of wear and tear mean our bodies process nutrients differently. So where do we start? The modern world presents us with a dizzying, contradictory buffet of options. Keto, paleo, vegan, carnivore, intermittent fasting. It feels less like a path to health and more like a battlefield of nutritional ideologies, each one claiming to be the one true way. This confusion leads to paralysis. We either stick with what we've always done, wondering why we feel tired and are gaining weight, or we jump from one extreme fad to another, getting short-term results but burning out because it's completely unsustainable. Let's end that cycle right now. We're not going to talk about a diet. Diets are temporary. They have a start and an end date. We're talking about a fueling strategy for the rest of your high-performing life. And it's built on 3 simple, non-negotiable pillars. Master these and the details will take care of themselves. The first and most important pillar is protein priority. If you take only one thing away from this entire section, let it be this. As we age, our bodies fight a quiet, relentless battle against something called sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. Starting in our 30s, we can lose 3 to 5% of our muscle mass per decade if we're not proactive. Muscle isn't just for looks or for lifting heavy things. It is your metabolic engine. It's a glucose sink, helping to manage blood sugar. It's your armor, protecting your joints and bones. It dictates your resting metabolic rate. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn just sitting there. Protein is the fundamental building block to preserve and build that muscle. Think of it as the lead engineer on your body's construction site. Without enough of it, the whole project grinds to a halt. For men over 40, aiming for a higher protein intake than you might think is a common recommendation. Many studies point to the benefits of consuming around 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight. So, if your target weight is 180 pounds, you'd be looking at a daily intake in the neighborhood of 180 grams. This might sound like a lot, but it's achievable when you make it a priority at every single meal. This isn't just about steak and chicken breasts. It's about starting your day with Greek yogurt or eggs instead of a bagel. It's about adding lentils or chickpeas to your salad at lunch. It's about having a quality protein shake after a workout. The second, almost magical benefit of prioritizing protein is satiety. Protein is the most filling macronutrient. When you eat a protein-rich meal, you feel fuller for longer. This drastically reduces cravings for the sugary, processed junk that derails your progress. It's the single most powerful lever you can pull to manage your appetite and, by extension, your body composition. The second pillar is understanding the carb conundrum. Carbohydrates have been demonized for the last 20 years. We've been told they make us fat, they spike our insulin, and that we should avoid them at all costs. This is a massive and frankly unhelpful oversimplification. Carbs are not the enemy. They are the primary source of high-octane fuel for your brain and your muscles. The problem isn't the carbs themselves. It's the type and timing of the carbs we consume. We need to start thinking of carbs in 2 categories: fast release and slow release. Fast release carbs are things like white bread, sugary cereals, soda, and pastries. They hit your bloodstream like a tidal wave, giving you a quick spike of energy followed by a crash, leaving you tired, foggy, and craving more sugar. They're the nutritional equivalent of pouring lighter fluid into your car's gas tank. Slow-release carbs, on the other hand, are your allies. These are your sweet potatoes, your quinoa, your brown rice, your oats, your beans, and all your fibrous vegetables. They are packed with fiber, which slows down digestion. This gives you a steady, sustained release of energy over hours, not minutes. It keeps your blood sugar stable, your mind clear, and your energy levels consistent throughout the day. This is the premium fuel your engine was designed to run on. A powerful strategy is to earn your carbs. This means you time the majority of your carbohydrate intake around your workouts. Having a serving of slow-release carbs 1 to 2 hours before you train provides the fuel for a powerful session. Having another serving after you train helps to replenish your muscle glycogen stores, kickstarting the recovery and muscle building process. On days you're not training, you can dial back the carbs slightly, keeping the focus on protein in our third pillar. That third pillar is embracing the fat fallacy. Many of us grew up in the 80s and 90s, an era dominated by the low-fat craze. We were told that eating fat makes you fat. We now know that was based on some deeply flawed science. The truth is, healthy fats are absolutely essential for a man's health, especially over 40. Dietary fats are critical for the production of hormones, including testosterone. When you go on an extreme low-fat diet, you can potentially starve your body of the very raw materials it needs to maintain healthy hormone levels. This can impact everything from your energy and mood to your libido and ability to build muscle. Healthy fats also play a key role in reducing inflammation, supporting brain health, and helping your body absorb essential fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. We're not talking about the trans fats found in fried foods and baked goods. We're talking about the monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats found in avocados, olive oil, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish like salmon and sardines. Think of these fats as the high-grade lubricant for your entire system. They keep your joints moving smoothly, your brain firing on all cylinders, and your hormonal assembly line running efficiently. So we have our 3 pillars. Prioritize protein, understand carbs, and embrace fats. But just as important as what you put in is what you keep out. We need to be aware of the 2 hidden saboteurs that can undo all of our hard work. The first is liquid calories. Sodas, fruit juices, and those fancy coffee drinks loaded with sugar are metabolic landmines. Because they're liquid, they don't register in our brain satiety centers in the same way solid food does. You can drink 1,000 calories and not feel full, leading to a massive calorie surplus and specifically the accumulation of visceral fat around your organs. The single easiest and most impactful change you can make is to switch to water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea. The second saboteur is ultra-processed foods. This is anything that comes in a box or a crinkly bag with a list of ingredients you can't pronounce. These food-like products are scientifically engineered to be hyperpalatable, to override your body's natural, I'm full signals, and to make you crave more. They are often stripped of fiber and nutrients and loaded with inflammatory industrial seed oils, refined sugars, and chemicals. They not only contribute to weight gain but also create a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation in the body, which is a root cause of many of the health issues we face as we age. Now, this all might sound overwhelming, like you have to be perfect all the time. You don't. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. This is where the 80-20 principle comes in. It's a game changer for long-term success. The idea is simple. 80% of the time, you focus on hitting your protein goals and eating whole, unprocessed foods from the pillars we just discussed. The other 20% of the time, you have some grace. You go out for pizza with your family. You have a beer with your friends while watching the game. You enjoy a piece of cake at a birthday party. This isn't a cheat meal. It's a planned part of a sustainable lifestyle. It prevents the feeling of deprivation that causes so many diets to fail. It allows you to live your life, to be social, and to enjoy food without guilt, knowing that the vast majority of your choices are moving you toward your goals. This isn't a 12-week shred. It's a blueprint for being a strong, energetic, and healthy man for the next 40 years. It's about building an approach to food that serves you, that fuels your performance in and out of the gym, and that you can actually stick with for life. But even with the perfect fuel in the tank, if the engine is constantly overheating and never gets a chance to cool down and repair, all that premium fuel goes to waste. That's why we have to address the 2 most powerful, and most often ignored, drivers of recovery and vitality. And those 2 drivers are sleep and stress. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sleep? Stress? That's the big secret. It sounds like something you'd see on a flimsy pamphlet in a doctor's waiting room. But I'm asking you to stay with me, because we've been sold a lie about these 2 forces. We've been taught that sleep is for the weak, and that stress is just the price of success. For a man over 40 in America, that mindset isn't just wrong. It's a direct path to burnout, disease, and a life lived at a fraction of its potential. Let's start with sleep. We don't think of sleep as an active process. We think of it as a shutdown. The lights go out, the factory closes, and nothing happens until the morning alarm. That is fundamentally incorrect. Sleep is not a shutdown. It is the single most effective performance-enhancing activity we have access to. It is the nightly maintenance crew that comes in to repair, rebuild, and upgrade the entire system. Think of your body like a major city. During the day, the streets are clogged with traffic. That's your metabolic processes. Buildings are getting worn down, trash is piling up in the alleys. That's cellular damage and metabolic waste. The power grid is strained. It's chaos. If that city ran 24/7 with no break, it would crumble into ruin within a week. When you sleep, a specialized crew comes in. This is not a time of inactivity. It's a time of intense, focused work. The traffic stops, allowing road crews to repair the potholes in your arteries. A specialized sanitation team, known as the glymphatic system, activates almost exclusively during deep sleep. It power washes your brain, flushing out toxic proteins like beta amyloid, which has been linked to cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases. This is literally your brain taking out the trash. If you shortchange sleep, that trash piles up night after night, year after year. That brain fog you feel after a bad night? That's the lingering residue of a job half done. But it gets even more critical for us as men. The majority of your daily testosterone and human growth hormone, the very hormones responsible for building muscle, burning fat, maintaining energy, and keeping you feeling vital, are produced during the deep stages of sleep. Studies have shown that just 1 week of sleeping only 5 hours a night can lower a young, healthy man's testosterone levels by the same amount as aging 10 to 15 years. Now imagine what decades of that pattern does to a man in his 40s. You can be killing it in the gym, eating perfectly, but if you're only sleeping 5 or 6 hours, you are physiologically castrating your own efforts. You're flooring the gas pedal while simultaneously cutting your own fuel line. So why is sleep so hard to come by after 40? Our biology starts working against us. The production of melatonin, the hormone of darkness, begins to decline. Our sensitivity to cortisol, the stress hormone, increases, making it easier for us to be jolted awake in the middle of the night with racing thoughts about a work deadline or a mortgage payment. The indestructible resilience of our 20s is gone. We can no longer treat sleep as a luxury. It has to become a non-negotiable, biological necessity. The path to reclaiming your sleep isn't about popping a pill. It's about sending the right signals to your ancient biology. First, light is everything. Your brain has a clock, the circadian rhythm, and its primary input is light. For millions of years, that meant bright sunlight during the day and firelight or darkness at night. Today we live in dim caves all day, our offices and homes, and then stare into artificial suns all night, our phones, tablets, and TVs. This confuses our brain. It doesn't know when to start producing melatonin. The solution? Get 10 to 15 minutes of direct sunlight in your eyes as early as possible in the morning. No sunglasses. This single act is like hitting a master reset button on your internal clock. It tells your brain, the day has begun, which sets a timer for it to start winding down about 14 to 16 hours later. Conversely, in the 2 hours before bed, you have to create an artificial dusk. Dim the lights. Use blue light blocking software on your devices, or better yet, put them away entirely. Read a real book. Second, get cool. Your body needs to drop its core temperature by about 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit to initiate and maintain deep sleep. You can help this process along. A hot shower or bath an hour or two before bed might seem counterintuitive, but it works by bringing blood to the surface of your skin. When you get out, the rapid cooling effect sends a powerful time for sleep signal to your brain. And keep your bedroom cool, ideally between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. This brings us to the second interconnected driver of vitality, stress. Sleep and stress are locked in a death spiral. Poor sleep jacks up your cortisol levels, making you more reactive to stress the next day. High stress then makes it impossible to fall asleep that night. You can't fix one without addressing the other. Like sleep, we've misunderstood stress. We think of it as an emotional problem, a feeling of being overwhelmed, but it is a physiological, full-body event. Your nervous system has two main gears, the sympathetic, which is your fight or flight system, and the parasympathetic, your rest and digest system. The sympathetic is your gas pedal. It floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol to help you handle a real, immediate threat, like outrunning a predator. The parasympathetic is your brake. It slows your heart rate, improves digestion, and initiates recovery and repair. The problem is our ancient nervous system can't tell the difference between a lion chasing us and 1,000 unread emails, a looming project deadline, or a traffic jam. It reacts to all of them by slamming on the gas pedal. For the modern American man in his 40s with career pressure, family responsibilities, and financial worries, that gas pedal is often stuck to the floor from the moment he wakes up to the moment he tries to go to sleep. We are living in a chronic state of low-grade fight or flight. What does this do to your body? That constant drip of cortisol tells your body to store fat, especially around your midsection. That stubborn belly fat you can't get rid of? It is, in many ways, a physical manifestation of chronic stress. Cortisol also breaks down muscle tissue, directly working against your efforts in the gym. It suppresses your immune system, making you more susceptible to getting sick. It impairs digestion, leading to issues like bloating and acid reflux. And crucially, cortisol is the antagonist to testosterone. When cortisol is high, testosterone is low. They exist on a seesaw. Living in a state of chronic stress is like choosing every single day to suppress the very hormone that defines male vitality. So how do we get our foot off the gas? How do we consciously engage the brake, the parasympathetic system? Simpler than you think. The most direct lever we have to control our nervous system is our breath. When you are stressed, your breathing becomes short and shallow from the chest. When you are relaxed, it's low and slow from the diaphragm. You can reverse engineer this. By consciously slowing down your breathing, you send a signal to your brain that says, "You are safe. The threat is gone. You can stand down." A simple technique is called box breathing. It's used by Navy SEALs to stay calm in high-stakes situations. It's an inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and hold for a count of 4. That's it. Doing this for just 2 to 3 minutes can dramatically shift you out of that sympathetic state and into the parasympathetic. It's a tool you can use in traffic before a big meeting, or when you're lying in bed with your mind racing. Another is a simple 10-minute walk, preferably in nature. This isn't about burning calories. It's about letting your physiology process the stress hormones. Movement helps metabolize cortisol and adrenaline. The visual input of a natural scene has been shown to lower stress markers. It's a form of active meditation that untangles the knots in your nervous system. By mastering the rhythms of sleep and learning to consciously regulate our response to stress, we are not just adding a couple of wellness hacks to our routine. We are rebuilding the very foundation upon which all health is built. We are cooling down the engine and allowing the maintenance crews to do their work. Only then can we start to effectively use the high-performance fuel and training we're putting in. Now that we have this foundation, a system that is well-rested and resilient, we can start to truly build. We can add the right kind of physical stress that forces the body to adapt and grow stronger, not just wear down. But the way we should train in our 40s and beyond is radically different from how we did in our 20s. The goal is no longer just about getting bigger or stronger. It's about building a body that is robust, functional, and injury-proof for the next 40 years. And the principles to achieve that might surprise you. Let's start with the biggest one, the principle that underpins everything else: you have to kill your ego. The ghost of your 25-year-old self, the one who could eat a whole pizza, go out all night, and still hit a personal best on the bench press the next morning, he's gone. And trying to train like he did is the fastest ticket to a torn rotator cuff, a herniated disc, or a nagging knee injury that never quite goes away. The number on the dumbbell is no longer the primary metric of success. The new metrics are consistency, quality of movement, and how you feel the next day. Think of it this way. For years we treated our bodies like a construction site, constantly trying to add more bricks, build bigger, faster. Now we have to become master architects. Our job is to maintain and reinforce the incredible structure we already have. It's about precision, not brute force. This means focusing on perfect form, even if it means dropping the weight significantly. A perfectly executed squat with just your body weight is infinitely more valuable than a sloppy, back-breaking squat with 300 pounds on the bar. It means embracing movements that build stability and control, not just raw power. Things like single-leg exercises, which expose and correct imbalances that have been building for decades. It means accepting that some days, the smart move isn't to push through the pain, but to listen to your body and opt for a lighter session or even active recovery. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's trading a short-term ego boost for long-term physical freedom. The second principle, and one that most men have ignored for their entire lives, is the non-negotiable importance of mobility. If strength training is laying the bricks, mobility work is the mortar that holds it all together. You can have the strongest engine in the world, but if the chassis is rusted and the joints are seized, that car isn't going anywhere. For men over 40, a lack of mobility is the silent architect of injury. It's why your back aches after sitting for too long. It's why you hear a symphony of pops and clicks when you get out of a low chair. It's why a simple act like reaching for something on a high shelf can lead to a week of shoulder pain. For decades, we've been tightening our bodies like a guitar string. Long hours at a desk shorten our hip flexors. Driving hunches our shoulders forward. Stress tenses our neck and back. Without dedicated work to counteract this, our range of motion shrinks year by year. We become prisoners in our own bodies. The solution isn't some mystical hour-long yoga class unless that's your thing. It can be as simple as 10 to 15 minutes a day. Think of it as daily maintenance, like brushing your teeth. Simple movements like deep squats, just holding the bottom position, can decompress your spine and open your hips. Thoracic rotations, where you get on all fours and twist your upper body, can undo years of desk slouching. The goal is to reclaim the natural movement patterns you had as a child. To be able to sit on the floor comfortably, to squat down to pick something up without a second thought. This isn't just about preventing injury in the gym. It's about ensuring you can play with your grandkids, swing a golf club, and move through life with ease and without pain for the next 40 years. Now let's talk about cardio. For most of us, the word cardio conjures up images of gasping for air, dripping in sweat, feeling like your heart is going to explode out of your chest. The old no pain, no gain mantra. And while high-intensity interval training has its place for men over 40, the vast majority of our cardiovascular work should be something completely different. It's a type of training that feels almost too easy. It's called Zone 2 cardio. This is the holy grail of metabolic health and longevity. Zone 2 is a low-intensity state where you're working hard enough to get your heart rate up, but not so hard that you can't hold a conversation. It's a brisk walk, a light jog, cycling on a stationary bike while watching a show. The magic of Zone 2 isn't about burning a massive number of calories in 30 minutes. It's about what it does on a cellular level. It trains your mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside your cells, to become more efficient at using fat for fuel. The more efficient your mitochondria are, the better your metabolic health, the more stable your energy levels, and the greater your endurance for everything else in life. Think of your body as having two energy systems: a fast-burning, high-octane system that uses carbohydrates, and a slow-burning, highly efficient system that uses fat. High-intensity exercise trains the fast-burning system, but most of our life is lived at a lower intensity. Zone 2 builds the foundation. It expands your aerobic base, making your heart stronger and your body a more efficient machine. The recommendation from many leading longevity experts is to aim for around 150 to 180 minutes of Zone 2 cardio per week. That might sound like a lot, but it's just 3 one-hour walks or 4 45-minute sessions on a bike. It's sustainable, it's low impact on your joints, and the long-term benefits for heart health, blood pressure, and overall vitality are profound. It's a shift from seeing cardio as a punishment to seeing it as a form of active meditation and a long-term investment in your health. This leads us directly to the fourth, and perhaps most transformative principle: recovery is now a training variable. In our 20s, we saw sleep and rest days as an inconvenience, time we weren't getting better. In our 40s, we must understand that recovery is the period when we actually get better. The workout itself is just the stimulus. It's the tearing down. The growth, the repair, the hormonal optimization, all of it happens when you are resting. And the single most powerful tool for recovery is sleep. Poor sleep in a man over 40 is catastrophic. It crushes testosterone levels, spikes cortisol, the stress hormone that stores belly fat, impairs insulin sensitivity, and tanks your cognitive function. Getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity. It's during these hours that your body releases growth hormone to repair muscle tissue, consolidates memories, and flushes metabolic waste from your brain. If you are training hard, eating right, but only sleeping 5 hours a night, you are driving with the emergency brake on. You are sabotaging your own efforts. Beyond sleep, recovery means building in deliberate rest days. Days where you do nothing more strenuous than go for a walk. It means listening to your body's signals. If you feel beaten down, sore, and unmotivated, your body isn't being lazy. It's sending you a clear message that it needs more time to repair. Pushing through that signal is a recipe for overtraining, burnout, and injury. The wise athlete in his 40s understands that sometimes, the most productive thing he can do for his fitness is to take a nap or go to bed an hour early. Finally, the fifth principle is to reframe your goal from aesthetics to function. The goal is no longer just to build beach muscles. The goal is to build a capable, resilient body that serves you in the real world. This means prioritizing functional strength. Ask yourself, what are the fundamental movements of human life? We push, we pull, we carry, we hinge, we squat, and we lunge. Your training should reflect that. Instead of just a bench press, master the push-up and the overhead press, which train your entire core to stabilize while you push something away or put it overhead. Instead of just bicep curls, master pull-ups and rows, which build a strong back that protects your spine. One of the most beneficial exercises any man over 40 can do is the farmer's walk. Simply pick up 2 heavy dumbbells or kettlebells and walk. That's it. This simple act trains your grip strength, a key indicator of longevity, your core, your back, and your hips all at once. It directly translates to carrying groceries, a suitcase, or a child. Goblet squats, where you hold a weight at your chest, teach you to lift things off the floor with your legs, not your back. This isn't about looking good in a mirror, although that is often a welcome side effect. This is about building a body that is useful, a body that allows you to say yes to life, yes to helping a friend move, yes to a spontaneous hike, yes to getting on the floor and playing with your family, confident in your ability to get back up again without a struggle. This physical foundation is just one piece of the puzzle, but what we put into this newly tuned machine is just as, if not more, critical. And the rules for fueling a 40-year-old body have changed dramatically. The high-octane fuel you used to pour into your system in your 20s, your body now sees it as low-grade diesel. It clogs the engine, sputters on the start, and leaves a trail of smoke. The game has shifted from sheer quantity to strategic quality. It's no longer about calories in, calories out as a simple math problem. It's about information. Every single thing you eat is sending a signal to your body, a command that influences your hormones, your energy levels, your mood, and even how fast you age. Think of it this way: your body at 40 is like a high-performance classic car. It's more powerful in some ways, more refined, but it's also far more sensitive to the kind of fuel you use. You wouldn't put cheap, watered-down gas in a 1968 Mustang, so why are we still trying to run our bodies on the nutritional equivalent of gas station coffee and a processed pastry? The first and most misunderstood shift is our relationship with protein. For years, we associated high protein intake with bodybuilders trying to get huge. But for a man over 40, protein isn't about vanity. It's about survival. It's the primary weapon against sarcopenia, that age-related muscle loss we talked about earlier. Losing muscle isn't just about looking less defined. Muscle is your metabolic engine. The more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn at rest. When that muscle starts to fade, your metabolism downshifts with it. That's the real reason the weight starts to creep on, even when you feel like you're eating the same as you always have. Your engine is just smaller. Your new mission, should you choose to accept it, is to treat protein as the foundation of every meal. We're not talking about eating 6 chicken breasts a day. We're talking about a strategic upgrade. That bagel or cereal you have for breakfast. It's a pure sugar rush that sets you up for a mid-morning crash. Swap it for 3 eggs or a bowl of Greek yogurt with some nuts. Notice the difference in your energy and focus by 10 a.m. It's night and day. Aim for a palm-sized portion of quality protein with lunch and dinner. Whether it's fish, chicken, lean beef, or plant-based options like lentils and chickpeas. This constant supply of amino acids is like giving your muscles a steady stream of bricks and mortar to repair themselves and fight off the natural decline. It keeps the engine running hot. Next, we have to talk about carbohydrates. Carbs have been demonized for years, but they are not the enemy. They are rocket fuel. The problem is, most of us have been using them like a teenager who just got their driver's license. All gas, no brake, leading to a spectacular crash. The refined, processed carbs found in white bread, pasta, sugary drinks, and snacks are the problem. They spike your blood sugar, which triggers a massive release of insulin, the fat storage hormone. It's a vicious cycle of a quick high, a hard crash, and your body getting the signal to store more fat, particularly around the midsection. The strategic shift for men over 40 is to become a carb strategist. You earn your carbs. The best time to consume faster-acting, healthy carbs like a banana or a potato is in the window around your workouts, when your body will use them immediately to refuel your muscles. For the rest of your meals, focus on slow-release, high-fiber carbs, things like quinoa, sweet potatoes, brown rice, and all kinds of vegetables. These break down slowly, giving you sustained energy without the insulin spike. They feed your body, not your fat cells. And fiber is the unsung hero here. It keeps you full, stabilizes blood sugar, and crucially, it feeds the good bacteria in your gut. And this brings us to a topic that would have sounded like science fiction to our 20-year-old selves: gut health. We now understand that the gut is like a second brain. It's home to trillions of bacteria that influence everything from your immune system and your mood to your ability to absorb nutrients. An unhealthy gut, fueled by processed foods, sugar, and stress, leads to systemic inflammation. Inflammation is another one of those silent enemies for men our age. In our 20s, inflammation was a good thing. It meant your body was healing a sprained ankle or fighting off a cold. But the chronic, low-grade inflammation caused by a poor diet is different. It's like a slow-burning fire inside your body. It's the reason your joints ache in the morning. It's a major contributor to that brain fog that makes you walk into a room and forget why you're there. And case studies have linked it to nearly every major chronic disease we fear. So, how do you fight this fire? You do it with your fork. You add in anti-inflammatory foods. This isn't about some weird restrictive diet. It's about adding, not just subtracting. Add in fatty fish like salmon packed with omega-3s. Add in handfuls of berries and dark leafy greens like spinach and kale. Use olive oil. Sprinkle turmeric on your eggs or in a smoothie. These foods are like sending in a team of microscopic firefighters to calm the system down. Combine that with high-fiber foods that feed your good gut bacteria, and you start to change the entire internal environment of your body from one of chronic stress to one of resilience and repair. Finally, let's talk about fats. The low-fat craze of the 80s and 90s did us a massive disservice. Our bodies, and especially our hormones, need healthy fats to function. Testosterone, the very hormone that defines our masculinity and vitality, is synthesized from cholesterol. When you strip all the fat from your diet, you're starving the very factory that produces your most essential hormone. The key is choosing the right fats. We're talking about the fats from avocados, nuts, seeds, and olive oil. These are the fats that support brain health, reduce inflammation, and provide the raw materials for optimal hormone production. The fats to avoid are the man-made trans fats found in fried foods and processed baked goods, and an overabundance of processed vegetable oils. It's a simple switch. Cook with olive or avocado oil instead of cheap vegetable oil. Snack on a handful of almonds instead of a bag of chips. Add half an avocado to your salad. These small changes provide your body with the high-quality building blocks it desperately needs. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction. It's about recognizing that the nutritional rules have changed because the machine has changed. You're not trying to patch up an old clunker. You're fine-tuning a classic. It requires better fuel, more precise maintenance, and a deeper understanding of what's happening under the hood. By focusing on protein as your foundation, being strategic with your carbs, and actively fighting inflammation with healthy fats and nutrient-dense foods, you're not just eating for today. You're sending a powerful signal to your body, a command to build strength, to clarify the mind, and to fortify itself for the decades to come. You can have the most dialed-in nutrition on the planet, meticulously weighing every gram of protein and sourcing the best organic vegetables. But if you're neglecting the single most powerful performance-enhancing, fat-burning, and muscle-building activity known to man, an activity that costs nothing and requires no equipment, then all your efforts in the kitchen are being systematically undone, night after night. That activity is sleep. And before you click away thinking you've heard this all before, I want you to understand that for a man in his 40s, 50s, or 60s, sleep isn't just about feeling rested. It is the absolute bedrock of hormonal health. It's the master switch that regulates everything we've been talking about. Think of it this way: your diet is the quality of the building materials, and your workouts are the construction crew. But sleep is the architect and the foreman, drawing up the blueprints and telling the crew exactly what to do. Without the architect, you just have a pile of expensive materials and a confused crew creating chaos instead of a fortress. Let's talk about the 3 hormones that dictate your success or failure as a man over 40. Testosterone, cortisol, and human growth hormone. Your relationship with sleep directly controls the levels of all 3. First, testosterone. The vast majority of your daily testosterone production happens during deep sleep, specifically during the REM cycles. Researchers at the University of Chicago took a group of healthy young men in their prime, and restricted their sleep to just 5 hours a night for 1 week. The results were staggering. After just 7 days, their daytime testosterone levels plummeted by 10 to 15%. To put that in perspective, that's the equivalent of aging them 10 to 15 years in a single week. Now imagine what's happening to a 45-year-old man who has been sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night for years, not just a week. He's fighting a battle with one hand tied behind his back. He's eating the steak and eggs, he's lifting the heavy weights, but he's physiologically neutering his own efforts every single night. You simply cannot outtrain or outdiet a chronic sleep deficit if your goal is to optimize male hormones. Next, cortisol. We've all heard of it, the stress hormone. But for men our age, it's more accurate to call it the progress killer hormone. When you don't get enough deep, restorative sleep, your body perceives it as a major stressor. It panics. And in response, it floods your system with cortisol. Chronically elevated cortisol does 2 things that are disastrous for a man's physique. First, it's catabolic, meaning it actively breaks down muscle tissue. So that muscle you're fighting so hard to build in the gym is being eaten away while you sleep. Second, it signals your body to store visceral fat, that hard, dangerous fat that accumulates deep within your abdomen, wrapping around your organs and giving you that classic pot belly look. This is why you see guys who are skinny fat, They don't look hugely overweight, but they have a soft midsection that they can't get rid of, no matter how many crunches they do. It's often a direct result of a hormonal imbalance driven by high cortisol from poor sleep. Finally, let's talk about human growth hormone, or HGH. This is your body's ultimate repair tool. HGH is released in pulses, and the single largest and most significant pulse of the day happens during the first few hours of deep sleep. This is when your body gets to work repairing damaged muscle fibers from your workout, strengthening bones, and burning fat for fuel. If you go to bed late, or if your sleep is fragmented and you never enter that deep slow wave state, you essentially miss that critical release window. You miss the nightly repair cycle. This is why you feel beaten down, why your joints ache, and why you don't recover from workouts the way you used to. It's not just your age. It's the absence of the most powerful restorative hormone in your body, a hormone that is only released in abundance when you give it the right environment: deep sleep. So the question isn't whether sleep is important. The question is, how do we reclaim it? How do we, in a world of endless notifications, blue light, and stress, create a sanctuary for sleep that allows our bodies to do what they were designed to do? It's not about just trying to sleep more. It's about a systematic, disciplined approach, a sleep ritual. First, you must control your environment. Your bedroom is not a movie theater, it's not a restaurant, and it's not an office. It is a room for sleep and intimacy, period. This starts with making it a cave. Cool, dark, and quiet. Your body's core temperature needs to drop to initiate and maintain deep sleep. Studies suggest a room temperature between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit is optimal. Turn down that thermostat. Next, it must be pitch black. I mean, absolutely see nothing in front of your face black. Your eyelids are thin, and even small amounts of ambient light from a street lamp, a phone charger, or a digital clock can penetrate and send a signal to your brain that it's time to wake up, disrupting the production of melatonin, your primary sleep hormone. Invest in blackout curtains. Put a piece of electrical tape over every single LED in your room. If you can't achieve total darkness, a comfortable sleep mask is a non-negotiable tool. Second, you must control your light exposure throughout the day, not just at night. Your body's internal 24-hour clock, your circadian rhythm, is set primarily by light. To anchor this rhythm, you need to get direct sunlight in your eyes as early as possible in the morning. For 10 to 15 minutes without sunglasses, step outside. This morning sunlight hits receptors in your eyes and sends a powerful signal to your brain that says, the day has begun. This starts a countdown timer for melatonin production later that night. Conversely, you must eliminate blue light exposure in the 2 hours leading up to bed. Blue light from your phone, your tablet, your computer, your TV, is the same frequency as the midday sun. It sends a powerful signal to your brain that says, it's the middle of the day. Stay awake. Be alert. It's the ultimate hormonal confusion. You're telling your body it's noon when you want it to be midnight. This is sabotage. The last hour of your day should be a screen-free wind-down period. Read a physical book. Listen to calm music. Talk to your partner. Meditate. Do some light stretching. You have to give your brain the signal that the day is over. Third, be fiercely consistent with your wake-up time. Not your bedtime, your wake-up time. Even on weekends. If you wake up at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, you need to wake up at 6 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday too. This is the single most effective way to stabilize your circadian rhythm. When you sleep in for hours on the weekend, you're giving yourself social jet lag. You're essentially flying to a different time zone for 2 days, and then expecting your body to be perfectly readjusted on Monday morning. It doesn't work. It creates a cycle of weekend grogginess and Monday morning fatigue. A consistent wake-up time is the anchor that holds your entire sleep schedule in place. Finally, let's be strategic about 2 common sleep disruptors: caffeine and alcohol. The half-life of caffeine is about 5 to 6 hours. This means if you have a cup of coffee at 3 p.m., half of that caffeine is still circulating in your bloodstream at 9 p.m., actively blocking the receptors in your brain that signal sleepiness. A hard and fast rule for any man serious about his health is no caffeine after 2 p.m. As for alcohol, the idea that a nightcap helps you sleep is one of the biggest myths in wellness. While alcohol is a sedative and can make you feel drowsy and fall asleep faster, it absolutely wrecks your sleep architecture. It suppresses REM sleep, the stage critical for mental and emotional processing, and causes you to wake up throughout the second half of the night as your body metabolizes it. You may have been unconscious for 8 hours, but you didn't get the deep, restorative sleep your body and brain desperately need. By implementing these 4 pillars, a cave-like environment, smart light management, a consistent wake-up time and mindful consumption of stimulants. You are no longer just hoping for good sleep. You are engineering it. You are taking back control. You are creating the optimal hormonal environment for your body to burn fat, build muscle, and restore your vitality. You're finally allowing the architect to do his job. But even with your nutrition dialed in and your sleep perfectly engineered, there's one more fundamental pillar we need to put in place. It's the one that provides the physical stress necessary to signal growth and adaptation, the one that forges the very structure of your body and mind. It's not just about working out. It's about a specific philosophy of movement designed to build, not break, the man over 40. This philosophy is built on a single powerful principle. You are not a demolition crew. You are a master craftsman. Your body is not a project to be torn down and rebuilt with brute force. It's a high-performance machine that requires precise tuning, intelligent upgrades, and a deep respect for its engineering. The goal isn't to look like you did at 22. The goal is to move, feel, and perform better than you ever thought possible at 42, 52, and beyond. This is the architecture of resilience. It begins with embracing resistance. I'm not just talking about lifting weights. I'm talking about applying a strategic, intelligent load to your musculoskeletal system. Why is this non-negotiable? Because starting around age 30, men begin to experience sarcopenia, the gradual, insidious loss of muscle mass. Left unchecked, this erodes your strength, tanks your metabolism, and destabilizes your entire frame. It's the physical equivalent of a slow-motion building collapse. Resistance training is the load-bearing pillar you install to reverse this process. It is the single most powerful signal. You can send your body to fight back against the pull of time. Every time you lift something heavy, you are doing more than building muscle. You are conducting a hormonal symphony. You are sending a powerful primal signal to your endocrine system to optimize hormones like testosterone and human growth hormone, which are crucial for maintaining lean mass, bone density, and vitality. You are improving your body's insulin sensitivity, essentially teaching your cells to use fuel more efficiently instead of storing it as fat. You are literally fortifying your bones, making them denser and more resistant to fractures. Muscle is your metabolic engine. It's metabolically expensive tissue. The more of it you have, the more calories you burn around the clock, even when you're sitting in a meeting or sleeping. It is your armor against metabolic disease and your foundation for a long, capable life. But how we apply this resistance is where the craftsman separates himself from the wrecking ball. The days of chest and tris, back ambis are over. That's inefficient. It's bodybuilding dogma that doesn't serve the man who needs to be strong for life, not just for the beach. We focus on the 5 fundamental human movement patterns. These are the movements our bodies were designed to perform. Mastering them is the key to functional real-world strength. First, the push. This is the ability to move an object away from your body. Think of pushing a stalled car, lifting yourself off the ground, or putting a heavy box on a high shelf. The foundational exercises are the push-up and the overhead press. We focus on protecting the shoulder joint, ensuring the scapula is moving correctly, and building strength that translates directly into a more powerful upper body. Second, the pull. This is the ability to bring an object toward your body, pulling open a heavy door, starting a lawnmower, or lifting a child into your arms. This is where we build the powerful, supportive muscles of your back with exercises like rows and pull-ups. A strong back is the antidote to the computer guy posture that plagues modern men. It pulls your shoulders back, opens up your chest, and creates a silhouette of confidence and strength. Third, the hinge. This might be the most important and most poorly executed movement of them all. The hinge is the act of bending at the hips, not the waist, to lift something from the ground. Think of the deadlift or the kettlebell swing. Every time you bend over to pick up a grocery bag with a rounded spine, you are playing Russian roulette with your lumbar discs. Mastering the hip hinge protects your lower back for life. It builds the powerful glutes and hamstrings, the true engine of your lower body, and is the absolute bedrock of athletic power. Fourth, the squat. This is the simple act of sitting down and standing back up. We do it dozens of times a day, but as we age, we lose this ability if we don't train it. The squat, done correctly, strengthens the entire lower body and core. It's not about loading up a bar with a dangerous amount of weight. It's about mastering the pattern to maintain your independence and mobility for decades to come. The ability to get up off the floor unassisted is a significant predictor of longevity. The squat is your training ground for that skill. And fifth, the carry. This is perhaps the most primal movement of all, carrying a heavy object for a distance. The farmer's walk is the king of this category. Simply pick up 2 heavy dumbbells or kettlebells and walk. It builds crushing grip strength, another key biomarker for health and longevity. It forges a core of solid steel and teaches your body to maintain stability and posture under load. It is brutally simple and profoundly effective. These 5 movements form the core of our program. 2, maybe 3 times a week, you'll perform a full-body workout centered on these patterns. We are not annihilating the body, we are stimulating it. The goal is to walk out of the gym feeling energized and strong, not beaten down and sore for 3 days. This is the minimum effective dose. It's the precise amount of stimulus needed to trigger growth and adaptation, and no more. You have a life, a career, a family. Your training must serve that life, not consume it. Now what about cardio? The old model of spending hours plodding along on a treadmill is outdated and, for many, a recipe for joint pain and elevated stress hormones. Again, we apply the craftsman's approach. We build the cardiovascular system from the base up with what's called Zone 2 training. This is low-intensity, steady-state work. Think a brisk walk on an incline, a light jog where you can still hold a conversation, or cycling at a comfortable pace. You should be able to do this for 30 to 60 minutes a few times a week. What's happening here is profound. You are building your aerobic base. You are increasing the number and efficiency of your mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside your cells. A robust mitochondrial system is the foundation of all-day energy and metabolic health. It's the slow, patient work that builds a truly massive engine. It's not sexy, it doesn't look flashy, but it is arguably the most important training you can do for your long-term health span. Then, once or twice a week at most, we add the spark. We add a short burst of high-intensity interval training, or HIIT. This is the opposite of Zone 2. It's a brief, all-out effort, maybe 20 to 30 seconds of sprinting on an exercise bike or a rower, followed by a minute or 2 of complete recovery. Repeat that a handful of times. This type of training provides a potent metabolic and hormonal signal that long-duration cardio just can't match. But it's a powerful tool that must be used sparingly. Zone 2 is the foundation of the pyramid. HIIT is the sharp, powerful peak. Too many men try to build their entire house on that peak, and they inevitably burn out or get injured. This entire physical strategy, strategic resistance training focused on fundamental movements, and a polarized approach to cardio, is the engine of your new wellness vehicle. It's powerful, it's efficient, and it's designed for the long haul. It respects the reality of your 40-plus body, while refusing to accept its limitations. We have now meticulously engineered the hardware. We've built the chassis with strong bones and resilient joints. We've tuned the engine with powerful muscles and a robust cardiovascular system. This is the physical machine capable of carrying you with strength and dignity through the next 40 years. But even the most perfectly restored high-performance engine is utterly useless without a skilled and focused driver at the wheel. The final and most critical piece of this entire puzzle isn't found in the gym, on the track, or in the kitchen. It's located in the 6 inches of space between your ears. This is the command center, the place where every decision is made, every signal is sent, and every battle is won or lost before you even take the first step. For decades, men in America, especially our generation, have been taught to focus exclusively on the engine. We were told to be strong, to be providers, to be rocks. We were handed an operator's manual that had entire chapters on grit, on sacrifice, on pushing through pain. But the chapter on mental maintenance, it was either ripped out or written in a language we were told not to speak. We were taught that the driver's only job was to grip the wheel tighter, stare straight ahead, and ignore the warning lights on the dashboard. That programming is failing us. It's failing us spectacularly, because in the complex, high-stress world of the 21st century, ignoring the driver is a recipe for a catastrophic crash. We see it everywhere. The man who has built an empire but feels a hollow emptiness inside. The father who provides everything for his family but feels disconnected from them. A stranger in his own home. The guy who seems to have it all together, but privately battles a storm of anxiety, stress, and a creeping sense of purposelessness. This isn't a personal failure. It's a systemic one. We've been trying to run sophisticated, modern software on an outdated, rigid operating system. An operating system that tells us vulnerability is weakness, that asking for help is an admission of defeat, and that the only acceptable emotion is a quiet, stoic resolve. This is the final frontier of wellness for men over 40. It's the recalibration of our internal compass. It's time to redefine strength. True strength isn't the ability to carry the heaviest burdens without complaint. It's the wisdom to know which burdens are yours to carry, and the courage to set down the ones that are not. It's the self-awareness to recognize when your internal systems are flashing red, and the discipline to pull over and perform the necessary maintenance. Mental and emotional fitness isn't a soft skill. It is the single greatest performance-enhancing tool you have. It is the foundation upon which all physical health, all professional success, and all meaningful relationships are built. So, how do we upgrade this internal operating system? How do we become the skilled, focused driver our high-performance engine deserves? It starts with a few core practices, pillars of mental resilience that have been misunderstood or outright dismissed for too long. First, we must train our attention. In a world engineered to distract you, the ability to focus is a superpower. This is where practices like mindfulness or meditation come in. And let's be clear, this isn't about sitting in a silent room trying to empty your mind. That's impossible. It's about mental weightlifting. It's the practice of noticing when your mind has wandered to a worry about work, a regret from the past, an anxiety about the future, and gently, without judgment, bringing it back to the present moment. Just like doing a bicep curl, the rep isn't holding the weight up. The rep is the act of curling it. In meditation, the rep isn't a state of perfect calm. The rep is the act of returning your focus. Starting with just 5 minutes a day, focusing on the simple sensation of your breath, you are training your ability to be the master of your own mind, rather than its servant. This practice prepares you for the chaos of life, allowing you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally when the pressure is on. Second, we must reconnect with purpose. A man without a clear, compelling why is a ship without a rudder, adrift on the ocean of circumstance. For many of us, our purpose was tied to our early career or raising a young family. But as we enter our 40s, 50s, and beyond, that purpose can become murky. The kids are grown, the career ladder might feel maxed out. This isn't a crisis, it's an invitation. An invitation to dig deeper. Ask yourself the big questions. What truly matters to me beyond titles and paychecks? What problem in the world do I feel a pull to solve? What legacy do I want to leave? Your purpose doesn't have to be starting a global charity. It can be mentoring a younger colleague. It can be mastering a new skill. It can be becoming the most present and engaged father or grandfather possible. Purpose is the fuel that gets you out of bed to hit that workout. It's the reason you choose the healthy meal over the easy one. It's the North Star that guides your decisions and gives meaning to the struggle. Third, we must deliberately build our tribe. Isolation is the silent killer of men in this age group. We graduate, we get married, we get busy, and our circle of true deep friendships tends to shrink. We might have hundreds of contacts on our phone, but who can we call at 2 a.m. when our world is falling apart? Who can we be completely, brutally honest with without fear of judgment? You need to build a personal board of directors, a small group of trusted men, peers, mentors, old friends, with whom you can share your wins, your losses, and your uncertainties. This isn't a therapy group for complaining. It's a strategic council. It's a place to get perspective, to be held accountable, and to remember that you are not alone on this journey. Proactively schedule the call. Book the weekend trip. Make it a non-negotiable part of your wellness protocol, as important as any gym session. Finally, we must have the courage to seek professional guidance. If your car's transmission was failing, you wouldn't try to fix it yourself by just reading the manual. You'd take it to a master mechanic. If you wanted to optimize your company's finances, you'd hire an expert CFO. Yet when it comes to the most complex and important machine we will ever operate, our own mind, we think we should be able to figure it all out on our own. Seeking therapy or coaching isn't a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that you are a high performer dedicated to optimization. It's hiring a strategic advisor to help you identify blind spots, upgrade limiting beliefs, and develop more effective strategies for navigating the complexities of life, leadership, and relationships. It is one of the strongest, most intelligent moves a man can make. This is the capstone. This is what ties everything together. The discipline you cultivate in the gym, it builds the mental fortitude to handle a crisis at work. The clean nutrition you put into your body, it clears the brain fog and allows for sharper thinking. The restorative sleep you prioritize, it regulates your emotions and enhances your decision-making. And the mental and emotional work you do, it provides the reason to do all the other things. It connects your daily actions to a deeper sense of meaning and purpose. This entire journey, from understanding our hormones to dialing in our nutrition, from rethinking our fitness to mastering our sleep, has all been leading to this one central truth. Wellness for a man over 40 is not about reclaiming your youth. It's not about a desperate attempt to turn back the clock. It is about stepping into a new and more powerful identity. It's an integration of physical vitality, mental clarity, and spiritual purpose. It's about becoming the man you were always meant to be, equipped with the wisdom of experience and the strength to forge a legendary second half. The path isn't easy. It requires you to unlearn decades of flawed programming. It demands honesty, humility, and consistent effort. But the alternative, a slow, quiet decline into mediocrity, regret, and poor health, is simply unacceptable. You have the knowledge. You have the roadmap. The only remaining variable is your decision. The decision to stop drifting and start driving. The decision to build a life, not just a living. The decision to become the architect of your own vitality. Your best years are not behind you. They are waiting for you to claim them. The work is hard. The reward is everything. Start the work.